Hi, welcome to Soultiful, and today we have an awesome show. We are using our voice to make an impact. Stay tuned.
Hi, and welcome to Soultiful.
It's Pastor P. It's Pastor P in the place to be. In the place to be. All
was
right.
ready for that.
Hey, go Jesus. Go Jesus. It's Pastor P in the place to be. It's Pastor P in the place to be. Welcome to Soultiful. Hey.
Wow.
Thank you.
No words, but I like it. I like it. Thank you, Janet. Yes. So she did her Easter speech and it was on fleek. I'm Toya, y'all. Welcome to Soultiful.
I am Latoya.
I'm Janet with the Easter speech and the Easter hair.
And we have the beautiful Pastor Paulette Harper, Pastor P, in the house today. So glad to have you, honey.
Thank you so much. It's going to be fun. I can already tell.
That's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. Yes. Go ahead and massage your cheeks because the laughing, it's gonna be something. Yes.
I'm the best student. I'm going to be quiet today.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
They said no.
Mm-mm. And it ain't even possible. Stop.
Okay.
Janet, why don't you start it off, sis, today? Love to know what you're working on.
Man, let me tell you about the fires that was occurring today. I swore it was just a little engine that just kept coming by. It was like, you got another fire? You got another fire? You like, what? Man, so I worked on, I had some emails to send out. I had a few technical errors, computer not working right. Things was just haywire for a minute. And then that's it. And then I'm working on my Caribbean event that we're having in Atlanta because it's Carnival weekend. Yeah. So the
Nice.
starts. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Pastor P. I dance to Jesus and I dance because
We love it.
yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I've been working on.
Cool, Janet. Toya.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh gosh. So I have been working on a couple of things. One, this is moving week, y'all. This is awesome.
Yay.
So yes, I'm finalizing those things and I am so ready to go. Also, of course, like we said last week, I started something new with the clients. So I am just adjusting to that role and trying to get acclimated as quickly as possible so that my stress level comes down. So that's what I've been working on.
Awesome. Yeah, indeed, it's like that sometimes when you start with a new client, getting acclimated. There's some rough water sometimes, but it gets to be, smooth sailing after a while, right, Toya?
I don't know about that. we gonna pray. We gonna pray.
So I would spend this time to talk about what I worked on today, which is a lot, but really I went to the Black Enterprise Summit last week. Just entrepreneurs, hundreds and hundreds of Black entrepreneurs. And I just wanted to say that was an amazing event. I was so inspired. I probably will share snippets here and there in the upcoming shows. But it was just great to be in a place where there are people just like you that are sometimes billionaires, definitely multimillionaires, just using the idea that God gave them and just making it bigger and bigger, collaborating and just, putting in the time to work and just have awesome legacies to share for the families for generations to come. So I enjoyed my time at the Black Enterprise Summit in Philadelphia. Yes. So Pastor P, what you working on?
In the house.
Yeah.
What am I working on? Well, I have several things. I'm cooking right now, but most importantly, I am working on my online school called One Story University. I have a webinar that I'm doing this week. And so I'm solidifying some of the things with that and looking forward to sharing during that webinar the vision of One Story University and offering them the opportunity to go through my online course, which is Unlock the Writer in You.
Oh, amen. And I know you said that was most important, but I'm sorry. What did you cook? What you cooking? What you cooking?
Okay, we will
Let's
know.
kind
We
of
will know. What's food looking like?
what's cooking.
What am I cooking today? Something chicken. I don't know.
Okay.
Something
Mm.
with chicken in it today.
See, that's a real cook. They whatever kind of meat, and they just kind of make it happen.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
good.
you
Yeah.
just pull it out of your freezer and let it thaw out, and then when you get ready, you just kind of make it do what it do.
Love it. Love it.
I've envied this life you speak of. Oh my gosh.
We'll get there, Toyas. The Toyas will get there. We'll get there. To
Yes.
our viewers, to our amazing viewers, we want to know what you're working on too, and we're so glad that you're with us. So let's shout out really quickly before we get into it. I know brother Joel at Tenacity is with us. Awesome ladies, awesome brother. We're so glad that you're here with us. Bless you, Mama Dora. She's been with us since the beginning of time. Shout out to you. Hope you're feeling well. We love you. We thank you for being here. And not sure who you are, but thanks for joining us today. Thank you guys. Thank you. And thanks. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah. We'd love to know what you're working on. And please engage throughout the broadcast. All right. Awesome. Okay. Take it away, Toya.
All right. So y'all already see she cooked. She out here inspiring other people's lives. So we're gonna get into who this awesome woman is on here today. Okay. So, visionary, founder, and CEO of One Story University, Paulette Harper is an award winning, best selling author and certified creative story coach. Since 2012, she has taught women to change the narrative and turn those painful experiences into powerful stories. She specializes in empowering coaches, faith based leaders, and aspiring authors on how to tell their stories, package their expertise in book format, and make a great impact by using your voice to make an impact in this world. Welcome, Pastor P.
Well, thank you so much for the intro. I'm excited about being here and I appreciate each of you women for this invite. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yay. I'm going to ask the first question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Pastor, and guys, she doesn't know what we're asking. We do this conversational, real talk on purpose. They don't know the questions. So, Pastor Paulette, I would love to know, Pastor Pete, I would love to know one thing about you that that we don't know. Just something like a little tidbit, little fact that most people don't know. Share what's Soultiful.
Sure, sure. So my writing journey started when I was 40. So I was a late bloomer when it comes to writing books.
Pastor, you have 1,000 books on the market.
Oh my God, are you
You serious?
serious?
Yeah.
See, that gives me hope.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I can
Toya
do
wants us to be writers so bad. That really gives her hope.
it. Wow, Pastor Paula, I was watching all those people on the stage with their books and the book signings and all that kind of stuff, and I said, I feel like we should be there too. We can do that too. So that gives me so much hope. I'm 41, so that is amazing. Thank you for sharing
You are
that.
so welcome. Yes, anytime you need some help, you need a coach. Hey, I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you.
You gonna work on a cookbook, Toya? Oh, sorry.
Jen, why you?
Sorry.
You know we can't cook.
Oh,
See why she
no
doing it?
cookbook.
I
like
guess
the
we're
story.
like
That mean we ain't getting no book. Okay, all right, go on. What's the next question? I said I was gonna be quiet. Okay.
So, tell me about your background. Where you from? Where you raised at? Stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. So I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, beautiful Northern Cali. Um, by way of San Francisco, my background, I'm actually the baby of 8. And first author in my
Oh, wow.
family. Yeah, first author in my family. And I love jazz. I love, traveling and really being spontaneous. I've learned how to really enjoy Paulette and do things that Paulette loves to do. And so in a moment, I will just say, hey, let's go here and let's go there. And Paulette will be on her route.
Oh, I love that. Nice.
So what drove you to writing? Was it You wanted to get out some inner expression. It was some things you were going through. You started journaling. How did you connect it that was the gift that you needed to explore at the age of 40?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was going through a divorce. And so I really started writing through I needed therapy, and so writing was one of the things that I did. I didn't do a whole lot of journaling. I just really believe that that's what God had wanted me to do with the things that I was going through in life. My trial, my test, a lot of emotional trauma that I was dealing with during those periods of time, and just really wanted to share my story and not be ashamed of, my scars that I had received during that, going through the trauma. So I started writing. And my first book was Birth. That was then This Is Now. And I actually just sat at the computer, and I knew I said yes to God for doing it, for writing it, and He just began to share things with me, things that I could share in the book without being ashamed of what I was going through, but freely sharing. And so I started writing through my pain, and that book was Birth, and not realizing that God had put purpose in me in spite of what I was going through. And it came through my writing. And then I began to see that my story, my voice had a purpose, that my pain and trials that I had gone through wasn't in vain. There was a reason that God was going to use it for His glory. And I began to just share my story. And then I saw that other people had stories that they wanted to write. And they began to ask me, how can you teach me, the process to writing? That's really how I got started at 40.
So, Pastor Paulette, okay, I get it. You went through some trauma, divorce. As your pastors, were pastor's wife at the time?
Yeah, we were pastors. We were pastors.
We're both pastors together.
Yes.
Can we talk about that? Like, how did you?
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. That the experience, and I would like to know how. I understand writing it down, but what gave you the courage to really share that?
That's that's
really most.
Yeah,
His
that's a
name
really
is Jesus.
His name is
and
Jesus.
I know Him, but I still be scared about some stuff and don't want to share things.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. But I think, with me, as a believer, I realize that everything that we go through in life, it's not for naught. There's a reason for why God allows it to go through, no matter how dark it could be, no matter how painful or heartbreaking it is. There is something that God wants to do, and if we allow Him to show us what that purpose is and give Him the time to allow us to go through that process, He'll begin to show us the reasons why He let certain things happen. And that's the case for me. And so going through the divorce, I was married for 23 years. Okay. And so going through the divorce, and let me just give a backstory. I was married for 23 years to my high school sweetheart. So I met him when I was 14. When I was 14, so he was the only man that I knew. And so we had built, this relationship from high school together up until, when we were divorced. And so that's where the emotional trauma settled in, and, the depression, and really wanting to end my life because I had nothing. I didn't feel I had anything else, any other purpose of, being married, being in ministry, having children, being a speaker as well. But I had put everything in my marriage. And so when that crumbled, when we got divorced, that's really when I had to go through that process of rediscovering who I was. It was a struggle. I had to go to therapy because I needed it for myself, And so just really at that place where I just really needed God to show me what His purpose was now that I was alone. I was, not married anymore. And so really that's really, how it got started for me.
Wow. Good gracious.
So do you find in your journey of talking with others, now that you found this way to express yourself, do you find that women, and I'm not saying not the brothers, but do you find that women tend to hide either behind husband or career?
Oh yeah, all the time. And even men too. We always put on a mask, and I shouldn't say always. There are some times where we put on a mask in front of certain people, or in the church, in the organizations, at the job. Because even when I was going through my divorce, I was still working, but no one knew that I was going through a divorce. Because I masked it very well. I was a functioning emotional trauma uh, survivor. And so, yeah, we mask it a lot, especially when we are trying to, cover, protect someone else who has caused the pain. And so, we have to really get to that place where we put ourselves first. It's that self care. And that was, when I went to therapy, it was about not so much saving my marriage, but it was about saving Paulette, because Paulette was on the brink of being broken, and going through the trauma, and just really losing my own, mental capacity in my own life, just really needing a lifeline. And that therapist was my lifeline during that time.
I love that you said that the purpose wasn't to save your marriage, but to save Paulette.
Yeah.
I know about you guys, but in your sister circles, I know people who are having marital problems. Like, I don't want to lose my husband. I don't, and I understand that. But what I found that it's yourself first. You need to heal there first, right?
Yeah.
And then you can
Yeah.
look into that. So I love that you said that.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Amen. Yep. Self-care is imperative. Say that, Brother Joe. Yes, Lord. Yes. That's our coach. That's our life coach. Whatever you want to call it. I guess he's not certified to be a therapist, but we love you, Joe. Awesome.
Is that my friend Joe?
It is.
It is him.
Yes, that the other beautiful pastor. Yes.
I ain't forgot about our phone call. I talked to you about that.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share in this, what we're talking about, Pastor?
I just, really want to, encourage people. You talk about how, the self-care, it is so important. When we finally say yes to, what our purpose is, and we, for me, one of the reasons why I went through so much emotional trauma was because I didn't feel that I could survive without this man in my life. That I didn't know what to do in my life. And I found that when I let go, and I had to really trust God, the process. And once I let go and I watched God move in my life, and I'm not saying it was perfect. No, it really wasn't perfect after that, but I made a decision for Paulette. I made a decision to let someone go who didn't want me anymore. I made a decision to say yes to Paulette and no to the circumstances in which I was at that current time living in. And so when I decided to say yes to the Lord, he really began to show me that I still had purpose, and I wasn't alone. He was with me, and he began to just really put the pieces of my life back together again. Far beyond I could even hope or imagine, and you think about using your voice to make an impact. And, I was I'm still a preacher. I was a preacher back then. I still had a voice then, but God has given me an opportunity to really amplify my voice, and bring light to stories, and really share with people that they don't have to be ashamed of anything they've gone through, and that God has a way of taking those stories to just really bring glory and honor to his name, and then share with other people that, they can make it too as well.
So when you help people now write, is it if someone comes to you, say, I want to write, I don't know, horror books, or are you teaching them the craft? Yeah, I said horror. I didn't know what I was doing. See, you know what? See,
Jason books, Freddy Krueger, what it is, Janet.
Pastor P, you see why I said I want to be quiet, but they just draw me out. They just draw me out.
Oh my goodness!
Are you teaching them just the craft of writing, or are you teaching them how to sell and publish? What are you actually teaching people how to do with the writing?
Yeah, so I teach nonfiction authors. how to write their, either a transformational story, personal story, a self-help book, a how-to book, or maybe a subject matter book. And so, yes, to your question, I do. I take them through this process where I show them how to really craft their story, how to build their story based on the chapters, and how to maneuver from chapter to chapter based on the content that they want inside their book. So we do the first session that I provide for my authors is a session that I call story mapping. It's really mapping out your story. It's getting clarity on the story, one story you want to write, but there's so many layers to that story. And then once you determine what it is that you want to share, then it's a matter of, okay, what kind of content you want readers to know? What is it that you want to give the readers, that they have wins, they have solutions, they have a resolve within themselves. And so we go through that process.
My question is, how do you get past the vulnerability? Because I'm listening to your story, and it is definitely profound. Because I can't even imagine the overwhelming emotional roller coaster you probably went on through your ordeal, but to be able to actually kind of put it out on Front Street is a whole different ball game. How do you deal with the vulnerability?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I had to think about that, when, the inspiration came to write my story about my trauma of going through a divorce with a pastor. I had to think about, my kids. I had to think about, the members of the congregation, but I had to think about Paulette. And not just me, I said yes to the Lord. So I had to be obedient to God first. And being obedient to Him first allowed me to take the steps that I needed to take to write it. Because if I'm obedient to Him, He's going to protect me. He's going to make sure that, no weapon formed against me will ever prosper. And I had to take the courage to go ahead and share my story. And at that time when I started writing, I was healed from the trauma. I was healed from the depression and the thoughts of killing myself. I was at a point of being able to share my story authentic. I was at a place of sharing my story from a place of being a victor, not a victim, but walking in victory, to show people that there is a way that we can maneuver through life, no matter what it looks like, who comes, who goes, no matter what happens, that there is still a place for us to prosper, and do what God's called us to do. So yeah, the vulnerability had to be there, but I had to obey God first.
Amen. Amen to that. I just
So I guess first question. Well, I have like a 2-part question. I always have a lot of questions.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
So was the book the first kind of coming out about saying, I, Pastor P, am going through this situation, et cetera, et cetera? Was that the first coming out? So,
yes.
And when you were in the part of promoting the book, were you giving it to your congregation, or were you promoting it outside and then the congregation kind of swarmed to it?
Well, actually, what ended up happening was, because I had, me and the pastor were divorced, I left the church. Okay. And so with me leaving the church, that just really released me of it, trying to, I wouldn't have sold the book to them anyways, because, the thing about, being, a first lady and being married to the pastor, and then you separate, you get a divorce, and then you write a book, the congregation feels that they have to take a side. That they have to feel that they have to side with the pastor, and so I didn't want to really promote to them, because I was sharing something that was, it was about me and their pastor. Okay. And so, in that trauma, and even in my book, I didn't put anything that was um that was, you know, no juicy stuff like that. No, oh, this what the pastor did. It wasn't even anything like that. It's a book of integrity, really. It's a book all about Paulette and my struggles of going through that. You know, I just happened to be married to a pastor, you know. And so you know, no, so when I, you know, released my book, it was to other people, you know, other people who really was not even connected with me from the ministry, but connected with me in other ways, you know, on my job, you know, people that I had met on social media, you know, just other doors that God just began to open. You know, I was at another church at that time. You know, I mean, when I wrote my book, I was already at another ministry. So I had the opportunity to just really share with people who didn't know and have any connection with me from my past.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I wondered how did that all
Yeah.
go and connect.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing that you, because in addition to what you said was you didn't really share about the stories about you being the pastors or the things that was going on in
Yeah.
between you two. You more shared about Paulette and what Paulette's
Yes.
issues or challenges was. And so that was the release. And I think in that aspect, that was even the greater obedience to God because
Yeah.
you could have chose to been is it
Messy.
vindicated? No,
Yeah.
not necessarily messy, but vindicated because you
Yeah.
know he did all of this to me, and even though you could have chose to make yourself, you know, I shouldn't
Sure.
have gotten all of this, but instead of doing all of that, so that you just decided Paulette had issues, and Paulette
Yeah.
fixed this, and Paulette fixed that, and
Yeah.
Paulette allowed this, and Paulette allowed that. So that even give you the greater sense of freedom, you know,
Yes.
do what you needed to do that you were able to have a louder voice because you could have been messy and had no voice, and the book could have
Yeah.
turned all the way around into another, you know. So that's
Yeah.
even the greater inspiration that I hear from this.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
We have a question for Lovely. Lovely, we want to thank you for engaging. I really have enjoyed looking at your comments. So we'll answer that. We'll share this question with Pastor P. I know we don't care about the naysayers, but at what point did you face the challenge head on?
Yeah, you know, I think when I finally wrote my first book and I began to see people from the congregation. And
Ooh.
that was like, oh, that was like because I already knew that they knew I had wrote a book, you know, and so it was, you know, trying to deal with them on a totally different level. The fact that I not only wrote a book, but I was no longer their first lady, you know, and so there was, you know, several things that had to overcome. I had to overcome, and they did too, you know, and so, you know, facing the challenge head on. Um, we live in, you know, we live in a small town, so it was just bound to happen that, you know, I would face them eventually, you know, but I was strong enough to do that. I was strong enough that when I saw them in my presence, you know, I still held my head up high. I still spoke, you know, and they did too. But it was something that I had to get through, and I did. And even after that, I knew that, you know, my story, even though I said that, you know, it was just really about me, and it is, you know, it really was about me. But the fact that I had the audacity to write
Mhm.
it, you know, I had the courage to even write it,
Yes,
you
you did.
know, said a lot, you know, and
Absolutely.
yeah, so, you know, just having the audacity to do something that people don't think you can do, the audacity to do something that people say you shouldn't do, the audacity to do something to, you know, to write a story about, you know, how, you know, you and a pastor, the audacity and the nerve of you to do it. However, you know, once again, when God tells you to do something, you have to put all that aside. You have to walk it out and believe that God has called you to do this and take the courage to get it done. And I was able to get it done.
Yeah, I wanted to that path. Number one, you listen to God. You know, you are obedient despite because I know how that is. In that churchy space, you're not really supposed to say bad things about the pastor and all that. I could, only
Okay.
imagine, right? But you know, I think the word says something to the effect that our gifts will make a way for us, right? Um, I love that you listen to God, and in doing that, you perfected the gift. I don't know if you knew you were had that gift of writing and being an author, you know? So isn't that amazing what came from that? And just
Yeah.
based on the year or so that I've been following you, I've just seen the progression. Like, oh, she's on this news outlet. She's doing this. Yes, she has this program. Oh, wow, she's showing all these people. I mean, it's just amazing. You know what God will do. People only listen to Him. We don't even know what He has for us. Did you
No.
foresee any of this?
No, no, no. I said I started writing at 40.
Wow.
And when I started writing, I didn't have no aspiration. Even when I went through, was married, went through ministry, it was about ministry. It was about, raising our children and just doing the ministry, And so, when the divorce happened and I started writing my story, I didn't have any author friends. I didn't know nothing about being an author, how to write a book, anything like that. But I had a word from the Lord.
It's hard because you about to have a webinar. You about to where you're showing a whole bunch of other people how to do this in excellence because you've perfected. You have a whole systematic approach
Yeah,
for you to be
yeah.
successful. I don't. Did y'all see her website? Like news outlets, like national news outlets. Pastor P, she's there. You know what I'm saying? And she's there. I'm sure some of her authors are there as well.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah, yeah. It's
Do
been a
you have
tremendous.
your own publishing house?
I'm sorry.
Do you have your own publishing house, or you?
I do. I have my own publishing house. It's called Thy Word Publishing. So I publish just my own books. So what I do with authors is I show you how to become your own publisher. So I don't publish anybody else. I empower you to do it yourself. That's what I do. That's how I serve this industry, because I want to be able to show you how to do it yourself so that you don't have to go to another publisher, and so that's the direction that I have for my life, and that's how God has instructed me. So all the books that I do, they're under Thy Word Publishing. My anthologies that I do, I publish those under my publishing house. But when it comes to publishing other people, you want to hire me as your coach, I'm going to show you how to do it yourself.
Wow, now that's big right there. That's big. That's half the ball game right there.
right.
Yeah.
That's
No, it
teaching you how to
is.
write, but not doing that. Now, not teaching you how to be your own publisher. That's doing too much. They want you to publish.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, that's what I do, because I think that it's so important. And that was one thing that I had to learn. When I wrote my first book, I went with a publisher. And then I realized after that I needed to learn how to self-publish, because I wanted one to take the middleman out. I wanted to learn the process. I didn't want to keep going to somebody else, and they would not only, have, maybe certain rights to my manuscript, but
Mhm.
don't show me how to do it, And so, thank you, lovely. And so I learned how to self-publish, and so, at the beginning, trial error, but you learn how to do it. And so I did. And one of the things that happened early on was the fact that when people saw that I had published a book, now they want me to show them how to do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to show you what I know. Okay. And so I started doing workshops and whatnot and showing them, hey, it was just about me reproducing, duplicating what I had already learned and giving it to somebody else, sharing it with somebody else. And so the workshops went to, can you coach me? So every step that I have taken in this journey has been because people have been pulling on my gifting, and I'm so grateful to the Lord for that. So yeah, that's really how all of this, coaching and book anthologies, they all got started because people kept knocking at my door saying, can you show me how? And I'm like, yeah, I can show you how to do this for yourself.
So, how many people have you coached?
Yeah, so over the years, I've probably coached maybe about 20 authors in publishing, showing them how to publish their own books. And then with my anthologies, I've been able to help, oh my God, maybe about 100 authors who are, some first time authors, become best selling authors, be, on billboards, be on platforms, be on stages and whatnot. And so I have just learned how to share and not be selfish and know what my talents are. I'm all about collaboration and not competition. I invite people to come be part of my anthologies because I want to see authors succeed, because when you succeed as an author, you show me that I've done you right and I've coached you correctly, and that's a great reward for me.
Mm.
Awesome.
I
This
was
is music to Toya's ears, I know, because she wants us to be authors.
yeah.
I do.
If I was an author, I would write about. Never mind. Yeah.
What would you write, Janet? We want to know. We want to
Yeah, we
know.
want to know now.
That's important. You're
I'm
important to us,
Pastor.
Janet.
Your ears are clean. I will not put filth in your ears, Pastor, because you passed the P. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Continue to
Okay.
pray for us, Pastor.
I would
Continue to
use
pray
my
for us.
voice for impact, but
Okay.
Pastor P, not the kind of
Okay.
impact.
Look at her incorporate the title. But you know what, Pastor, we all work together. We all have individual companies, but we work together,
Okay.
collaborative. We collaborate.
Collaborative. Yes.
Okay.
Let me help you.
Collaboratively.
Thank you.
Collaborative.
They
Yes.
always got to fix my words. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That ain't all we have to fix, but anyway, go ahead.
So we're thinking about coming up that conference. We were thinking about what are we going to be like our first book, and literally God has put us all together. God has directed our path. So it's something with God in it. Is that okay to have a business book that has God in it, Pastor P? Is that
Of
okay?
course it is. I mean,
Okay.
because God, you're where you are because of the Lord,
Amen.
and
Amen.
and and
Amen.
and he's our CEO. He's our financial, officer. He is the one who gives us strategies. He is the
Yeah.
one we sit before and ask for
You better say that.
instructions. Come
Good.
on now. I'm here and I do what I do only because God has anointed me to do it. And so with that, I cannot go a day without asking him, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do today? Who do you want me to connect with? What is my assignment that I have here on the earth to serve you? And so my business glorify God. That is why, because when I'm coaching authors, I don't do erotica. I don't do horror. Sorry, Janet. I don't do that kind of stuff. I deal with people who want to write inspirational nonfiction books, who want to write transformational stories, how to resolve books. Those are the kind of authors that I help, push and promote.
Love
I mean,
it.
because even in some of those stories, they have their own horror. Horror don't have to be horror, But you're right. You're right.
Well, you know what? Let me say this. You are right in the fact that the experiences that we've gone through in life
It's been horrible sometimes.
has been horrible. Yes, I totally agree with you on that. I've read some really horrific stories of men and women who have gone through some very, trying times in life. And I mean from rape to families committing suicide I just a gamut of stories that we've gone through in life. And okay, lovely, connect with me, definitely. So so you're absolutely correct. It's the stories that we've lived. It's the life that we've lived that's just been horrible. Just has been sometimes a horrid life. But in that, there's always the restoring. There's always
The restoration, yeah.
healing. There's always, okay, let me see, God, you work in this thing in my life. There's always a purpose for it. So no matter how devastating life comes to us, no matter how heartbreaking it has been, no matter who has hurt us, who has caused the pain, God can still turn those things around for his glory, and that we will get the benefit from it. Had I not said yes to the Lord and being vulnerable, like Latoya said, being vulnerable and sharing my own story, had I said, oh no, Lord, I don't want to write it because I don't want to offend people. I don't want nobody to know that the pastor has been going through this. If I had said no, I wouldn't be here today. If I would have said no to the Lord then, I would have not been able to on, the authors that I have, connected with, So I just made Toya a nervous.
I dropped my pen. It's okay.
You drop your mic. You drop your
No, I
mic.
dropped my pen. I can't even blame it on the kids. That was me. I'll pick it up later. Pastor, you said something though right there. You said that we do things for His glory, but the part that you said you don't hear people say a lot, we benefit from it. We really do. We really
Oh my
do.
God. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can tell you that, when I decided to write my first book, I had no idea that all of this was going to be part of God's plan for my life. And sometimes we serve a God who has so many greater things in store for us, and so we look at ourselves and we're real little when we look at ourselves, we're real little in the plans that we have, the purpose that we have, our jobs that we do. We don't see that God is so much bigger than that. That He has so many other things for us to do, so much more impact beyond the four walls, beyond our jobs, even beyond our family and our children. It goes way beyond that, And so to be where I am today, it is just amazing, and I attribute all of that to the glory of God, because He took my pain, my sorrow, my anguish, all my adversity, and He turned it around and put me in a place that I just sit back and I'm just like shake my head like, God, you did all of this. To God be the glory. Nobody can get the glory for this, for where I am. Only God, and He trusts me to give me things because He knows I'm not going to, harbor it for myself. He knows I'm going to give Him the glory for it. He knows that whatever He can trust me with it. And I'm so grateful for being here, because I bring other people along on this journey with me, because I want to see them experience the goodness of God, and no matter what they go through in life.
Yes.
But we're all chosen for a story and a reason and a season. So it just, whether your story makes the national news or the local news or the everyday circle news, your story impact. The thing is, when we don't execute the story, that's where the problem comes in. So no matter how small your story, some stories are supposed to be on the World Wide Web. Some stories are just supposed to be on one little channel. Some stories are just supposed to be in the community. Whatever your story, you were chosen for that story. It's when you don't execute it. That's when you harbor. When you prevent other people from growing. So you're right in that retrospect.
I just want to say thank you for your transparency. It really makes it puts that human effect in there, because we tend to put pastors on a pedestal that they don't go through what we go through, and it's like no, y'all go exactly through everything that we go through. So your story really is it's really good to see that authenticity. I like it.
And remember, those who love the Lord get attacked more often than those who love the Lord. So
and that's the truth. When you have pastors who are shepherds and they're leading other people to greener pastures, of course they're going to be attacked. And that's why it's so important, to lift your pastor up and pray for your pastor. So that, because they're going through things that they're not going to tell you and openly tell you, that this is what they're going through, it's going to be stuff that happens, the struggles that they have behind closed doors, and so those same struggles, if they're not dealt with, behind closed doors, then they manifest themselves openly, and that's not really what we want. And so, the vulnerability, people can resonate with me and anybody that write their story when you're real, when you're real and when you're authentic and when you're telling, hey, you know what, I had emotional trauma. I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to end my life. I had depression. I had to really own up to where I was, and really realizing that it wasn't the place that God intended for me to stay. And I had to find my way out of that.
Even what's his name? Kirk Franklin and even Dietrich Haddon. Because remember when Kirk Franklin had the whole parenting thing that
Yeah.
went up, and he was like, I don't understand why y'all think I'm not human. I mean, I'm not gonna allow no child talk to me that I've been taking care of and disrespect me and my Kirk or not Kirk. Jesus understand and I'm finna tell him. Maybe I didn't handle it the right way, but he gonna get it some way, somehow. And he's my child and I have the right, and even when Dietrich Haddon was on that pastor show, and they was telling him, well, how you gonna sing and be he was like, yeah, I'm a man. I like women. What that me and my wife, we not together no more. I don't want to be alone, so I think you're very right in that retrospect. We forget that, people are people. Choose to serve the Lord. And when they choose to serve the Lord, they aim to live like Christ and be so that they can be a representative. But even Christ was attacked. He's the only man who walked clean and didn't dirt. Everybody else, even David, and David loves women, so everybody had their challenges. They just, but the thing about them is that they chose to struggle through their challenges eventually until they were almost Christ-like. So,
awesome.
Baby, I love the Lord. I goof up, but I love my Christ. Okay,
we know, sis. We know you love God. I like to hang out with people who love God because that foundation, when you act up, you still got that foundation. So that's I know.
So Pastor P, if there was one thing that you could tell a yearning writer who's out there, what would that, no matter what story they wanted to write, but what would be that thing? Would you, what would be that one thing? Put your pen, write the vision, make it plain. What would be your little quote of inspiration?
What would be my hope? And can you repeat that? Because you kind of choppy there.
Oh, I'm sorry. What would be your quote of inspiration?
Oh, my quote of inspiration. Okay. So you said quote, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my quote of inspiration is, I write my story because I decide how it's going to end.
That's why she's Pastor P. She's Pastor P. Come on through. Come on through, Pastor.
Fire.
Pastor P.
That's fire.
She uses her voice to make an impact. She's Pastor P. She's Pastor P.
Fire. I think I might steal that one.
Yes, girl.
Okay, just say you got it from Paulette the first time. That's okay,
right. I got you, honey. Yes,
I write my story because I know
that's amazing. I have one question. I know we don't have a lot of time, but as a new author,
we go over.
As a new author, Pastor P, would you recommend that I publish on Amazon or not for my first book?
Well, it kind of depends on what your goal is. If you are striving to, possibly be a bestseller, then of course Amazon is on there. You push for that. If you're just putting it on there so that people, because most people want to buy your book apart from your friends and your family off of Amazon because it's trustworthy. And so I choose to go through them because when it comes to my anthologies, I want to, push my authors to bestseller, and so, England Sparks is an option for authors as well. So you kind of have to weigh them out and see the reasoning why you choose one over the other. And so, yeah. So, it just kind of depends on you.
I just want to remind everybody that the show is part of the Business Made Simple. It's part of that group of shows, because Pastor Paulette makes Business Made Simple. If you want to be an author, she's been doing this for years. She has a lot of books and she knows how to do this. She has a whole system, process in place. So she can make your writing process a whole lot simple and on point and right, because she knows how to do this. So, Pastor Paulette, will you tell us a little bit about your upcoming webinar? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, yeah, I have a webinar that's coming up called Unlock 5 Strategies for Moving the Needle and Completing Your Book. This is for those of you who find it very difficult to start, don't know where to start, don't know how to start, don't know what content to put. These strategies are going to give you the tools and, of course, strategies that you need to really move the needle. And so that's happening this Thursday, May the 26th. It's on Zoom. You can still sign up, register. You'll get the Zoom information emailed to you. And I encourage anyone, if you are an aspiring author and you're stuck, you haven't moved the needle, you say you want to write a book and it's been, 5 years, or even you have a manuscript but you just don't know, if it's, what to do with it. Come to the my webinar that's happening this Thursday and be part of this 5 strategies of moving the needle, because you're going to be able to move the needle when you leave this this webinar. And it's part of my my online school that I'm launching as well, called One Story University, and authors will be able to go through a 90-day program with me. That's entitled Unlock the Writer in You. And I'm looking forward to connect with those who come out to be part of this no cost hour webinar. Give yourself an hour to learn how to move the needle to get past where you are right now.
Yeah, I just saw that. I didn't notice that before. That is no cost.
Yes, it's no cost. Come on now.
So yeah, I know I've got work to do, but Jen, if I can go to the webinar, I need to be there. Is that cool? And the rest of y'all come with me. Come up and meet Pastor Paulette. She is a dynamic woman, and you don't want to miss this. Amazing. I'll make sure that I put that link in there in the comments as well, so people can easily get that. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Pastor, I know you told us about the awesome webinar. I know that you've given us many nuggets, but is there a final word, something that you want to share with us that you haven't had the opportunity to do?
Yeah, for some people, writing a solo book can be very daunting. It can be very intimidating, And so I just really encourage those of you who want to take, little steps, but you want to be, an author, then be in any one of my anthologies. I just released one called The Breaking Point, little plug in called The Breaking Point. It was just released, and it's a book that's been endorsed by Les Brown.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been endorsed by Les Brown. I could tell you how that came about. Was just orchestrated by God. It was a divine meeting with Les Brown, and he endorsed the book. The endorsement is posted on Amazon as well. And so if you, if this is something you want to do, go to my website, pauletteharper.com, get on my waiting list for the next anthology that I'm going to be doing. Open enrollment or open submissions that will take place probably at the first part of July for my next anthology.
Awesome.
And so, so The Breaking Point was just released. I have another anthology that's going to be released in July called I Survived the Storm. So it's an opportunity for anyone who wants to be a published author, and all they need to do is write one chapter and go through that process. And my desire is to bring authors on platforms, on stages where they can share their story, give them opportunities to shine, and then become a best-selling author as well.
And Pastor Paulette, can I just say, her authors, they're on billboards, like outside up in the sky. You see yourself on the billboard. That's what her authors are. They're on
Yeah,
billboards.
baby.
She does dynamic marketing. Like she will really take care of you, make sure that you are uplifted, that you're on the guard with this being an author. So I know where I'm gonna be. I don't know about y'all, but I'm
Come
locking
on, come
arms.
on.
Awesome, awesome. Wow, this has been beautiful. So thankful for you to come through on Soultiful. The virtual book tours that you do. Tell us really quickly, how does that work for an author? Because people don't know what that is.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So I have a business called Right Now Virtual Book Tours. It's an online service to help promote authors virtually. So what I do is I connect authors and their books with bloggers, who in turn will feature the authors on their blog, on their website, with either a book promo, author promo, or excerpts from their book. And so thank you so much, lovely. So I create a media kit for the authors, and so I provide that information to the bloggers. And so my author tours are anywhere from 2 weeks to all the way to 2 months of book promotions. And so, depending on the length of the promotion, the virtual book tour you want to do, every day somebody is promoting these authors on their blogs, and they're sharing it out on Twitter and even Facebook. And so, it could be an article that the author writes, which is called a guest post. It could be a Q&A that the bloggers want the authors to fill out so that we present that to them, on their blog. So it's a great way to get word out about your book in the quickest amount of time because, hey, it's all done on the internet.
Yes.
You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to travel. You'll go from blog to blog looking at your face on these bloggers' posts promoting your book.
I just want to remind the viewers, if you weren't here from at the beginning of the show, all this that she does, this came from at 40 years old when she went through some trauma, and the beauty that came from this. It's just amazing. It is amazing. Les Brown, multiple businesses, it's just beautiful. That's it.
Yeah, Les Brown. That'll take a whole nother.
I can't wait to hear about that. We'll talk about that offline.
Les Brown was the surprise icing on the cake. I walked in on that conversation. So yeah,
amazing. Well, Pastor Paulette, you're gonna have to come back. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. So thank you so much for being here. Toya, Janet, take us out.
Well, we just want to make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure you join us right back here. When, Janet? When should they be here?
Next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m., the day after Memorial Day. Come on in and take a seat, and let's enjoy another episode of Soultiful. Bye-bye.
We thank God that Pastor P was here because Janet was on her best behavior.
Best behavior.
Let the church say amen.
Hi, and welcome to Soultiful.